everybody, and welcome to another Make It Monday with me, Laura Buechler of Inkyfingers Papercrafting. And I want to give a special shout out today to everybody who's watching the replay. We have got some fun surprises in store. Make sure you stick around till the end of the video because I'm going to be showing you a paper storage tip that you might just love. So today we're going to be making this beautiful card, but I thought before we get started, I wanted to show you a sneak peek of something coming up. Now, you've heard me talk about the Christmas Classics virtual Stampin' Retreat. Well, all morning I've been in here in my craft room watching the rainfall outside where it belongs and doing some crafting and doing some designing for the virtual retreat. So I want to show you a little sneak peek of one of the cards that we'll be making at that retreat. And I want to just throw the link up here. If you are interested in the virtual retreat, remember you can attend from anywhere in North America, anywhere in Canada, anywhere in the US, and you'll get to make 12 gorgeous Christmas cards. And here's a little sneak peek of one of them, okay? How gorgeous is that? If you love your elegant Christmas holiday cards, yeah, hit up that link, retreat.inkyfingers.ca. Get all the information on the retreat, all the costs, etc., and we hope to see you there. So this is the card that we made last week at Zoom, thanks to my friend and teammate Jamie, who taught us how to do this. And I thought today, for fun, we would make it with a different kind of paper. So what we've got today is a whole bunch of scraps from Bright and Beautiful, and this is all you need to create this card. It is so easy. And remember, I actually when I shared this card on my Facebook page last week, I just shared the measurements right in the comments, but I'll be putting together a PDF as well, so you can have something to download and keep, and I'll show you exactly how to put together this card. So let's get started. We've just got a card base and these 3 layers and then a bunch of scraps. And don't forget, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I store my scraps and how I store my 6x6 designer series paper. Okay, so I'm going to put all of these aside except for my scraps and my small white piece of cardstock. Let's zoom out here so we got a little bit more room. Okay, now as we all know, with beautiful designer series paper, the first decision that you always have to make is which side you want to use. So sometimes I'm gonna flip them over and I'm gonna play with them and I'm gonna see what I want it to look like. And I'm just gonna start laying these out kind of how I want them to be. So you want to start with one of these. We've got 4 long strips and 2 short strips, and I just want to start by putting one of the long strips from corner to corner and then start playing with how I want the rest of these to go. Now these strips are not going to overlap, and there also are not going to be any gaps in between them. Do I want to flip that over? Nah, I don't. Unless I put it over here. It looks really nice next to those blue stars. There we go. And what I'm noticing here is that I just have a teensy little gap, so I can slide my paper up and make sure that that white is covered. Okay, and I'm not even taping anything down yet. I'm just kind of playing around with how I want this to go. And then the 2 little short strips go on the last little corners. So that's basically how it's going to look. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick any one of these strips, it doesn't even matter which one, and just start by taping it down. I'm going to try to move this without bumping anything. I did pretty well at that. Okay, so I'm going to start with this teensy little corner one. You can also start right from the middle. It doesn't matter. Oh, good. My light is going to be grumpy today. How fun for everyone. Okay. Probably didn't need to put that much adhesive on when it's only sticking on the corner, but that's okay. So now it looks like, because my light is being grumpy, it looks like I'm doing a crafting rave, which wasn't really my intention for y'all, but here we are. There we go. Sorry about that. Let's see if it will behave if I switch the mode. You'll see. Okay, so you'll notice with my adhesive, I'm not putting it out to the very edge because the very edge is not going to end up being stuck onto my project. So I'm just kind of putting some in the middle and some kind of a third of the way down, or a quarter of the way down maybe. There we go. And again, the strips are not overlapping and there's no gaps in between. They're just butting up against each other like one cozy little family, all snuggled in. So very fun to see how all these different scraps, if you're a scrap saver, this is a perfect card. And they're all different colors and they're all different patterns and everything, but they just end up looking so cool together. Okay, now of course right now this looks like a total mess, but if we flip it over, there's our white rectangle. And the next piece, the next step, you could do this on your trimmer if you wanted to. I find it's easier to just use my scissors, and I'm just going to trim around that white rectangle and trim off the extra pieces of designer series paper that we don't need. And I can throw those in my recycling. And now it's starting to look a little bit more normal. So those of you who are watching, replay or live, tell me if you are a scrap saver or not. And how big does a scrap of paper need to be for you to feel like it's worthwhile saving? I feel like it needs to be usually an inch wide for cardstock. If it's not an inch wide, I'm probably not going to keep it. I do keep smaller scraps of that for DSP though, and I'll show you why later in the video when I show you how I store my DSP scraps. Okay, so there's my rectangle now with these gorgeous diagonal strips. It looks so fun. It looks like a birthday party already. And now I'm going to layer it up with my other pieces. So let's see what we want to do here. We're going to do, the card base is Azure Afternoon. Then I've got Lemon Lolly and Berry Burst, and then the panel that I've created. And before I put any of this onto the card, I want to use some ribbon. I've got some Lemon Lime Twist ribbon. This is from the annual catalog. You can find it with the Zoo Crew suite. But this Lemon Lime Twist also goes with the paper in this bright and beautiful designer series paper. So that's why I'm going to use it today. So when I want to attach a ribbon, the first thing that I do, well, first of all, I'm going to attach all these 3 layers together because the ribbon is going to go all around all 3 of these layers. So I'm just layering up, layering up. Layers are not only the secret for your autumn wardrobe, but also awesome for card making. Okay, so we've got that. Now I want this ribbon to go around these layers, so I'm going to cut it a little bit wider than what this layer is. And then I'm going to put my adhesive all around on the back. And use that. The adhesive that I put down is going to catch the ends of the ribbon. I want it a little bit higher though. And that's the advantage to putting the adhesive all around. Now I have all the choices about where I want to put that ribbon. So I want it to be right about there. So now those ends are stuck down, and now I can attach this to my card base. But what about the bow? Don't worry, that's going to come next. Tying your bow or even your knot separately from the piece that you put across your panel is so much easier. Now, I'm going to do a fancy pants double ribbon. So when I do a double ribbon, I use my fingers. I'm right-handed, so I'm using my left hand to help me tie the bow. So if you can imagine, as the ribbon loops around each of my fingers, that's going to create the bow. And all I need to do a double is wrap around twice. So I start here, I'm holding the end with my thumb, and I loop and I loop. And if I wanted to just tie a regular bow, that's where I would stop, but I'm going to loop again. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 loops. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 loops. Now this end that's coming out from between my fingers, I'm going to just make it a little bit longer than the length of my 2 fingers. And then I'm going to cut. And now I know approximately how much I need to tie my double bow. Okay, so we're going to do the same process again. Hold with the thumb. Loop and loop and loop and loop. Okay, now this part here, it's coming out from between my fingers. It's going right in there, that little V. Okay. And now, so I wrapped that around. I put it in between my fingers in the V, and now I need to tie this and this in a knot. And that's really hard to see, but you all know how to tie a knot. So you don't need to see my weird demonstration of it. And when I get that knot tied, I can pull it off my fingers, and there's my beautiful double bow. Now I'm going to just trim these ends a little bit. There we go. And last but not least, I'm going to grab a glue dot. This is what I like to do. Leave the glue dot on the roll and pick it up with the ribbon. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so there's our card created, and now we just need to add our sentiment. So here's the starting card as an example. So we're going to use this largest circle die from the Stylish Shapes. We're going to cut out some white cardstock and then stamp it up. All right, where's my white scrap cardstock gone? Aha, there it is. And where's the plates for my mini machine? There they are. And there's my circle. Okay, now because I'm using a photopolymer stamp for the sentiment, I'm using, once again, Charming Sentiments and this Wishing You Everything Wonderful stamp. Because that's photopolymer, I want to use my piercing mat underneath. So, wishing you everything wonderful. I want to have a look at my card here and kind of choose what will be a good color for the sentiment. And I feel like it's going to be Berry Burst. I want the sentiment to be a darker and or bolder color than what I'm going to stamp around it. And Berry Burst is a great choice for that. It's a nice, bold color. Now I'm going to use this little stamp. To me, it looks like confetti. And this is from the Artistically Inked stamp set. See right here? Now this is a cling stamp set, so I don't need any more my Stampin' Up mat. But you know what I do need is some scrap paper to go underneath, because I'm going to end up having stamps that overlap. Okay, so I've got 4 other ink colors that match this paper, and I'm just going to stamp some confetti all around in these various colors. And of course, I'm going to have to clean my stamp in between each one. That's okay. Got my handy Stampin' Chamois. I just washed it on the weekend. All right, now I've got the Lost Lagoon. And because this is confetti too, it can go any which way. You can turn the stamp around and stamp in different directions. There we go. And yes, all my scrap paper is from years and years and years ago when I used to work for the health authority. And we would print out handbooks, and then when the session was over that we were teaching, if we had extra handbooks, they would get recycled. And instead of throwing them in the recycling, a lot of times I just brought them home to use for this exact purpose, to use as scrap paper. So I have like hundreds and hundreds of pages of this stuff because, you know, waste not, want not, right? Okay. This is looking very confetti-ish. Oh, I want one more right up there. Ta-da! Okay, look at that. So flippin' cute, right? All these beautiful bright colors. Okay, so now I'm ready to attach this onto my card. And I'm finding that this bow isn't quite where I want it to be, but because I attached it separately with a glue dot instead of it being tied on, I can just pick it up and move it, yo. Ha! I'm the boss of this card, and I'm the boss of the bow. I've got some mini dimensionals where all the mini dimensionals themselves have been used up, and now I'm using the little edge bits. You know you can use the little edge bits, right? Don't ever throw them away because they work just the same as dimensionals. You just have to cut them yourself. Look at that. So much more left to use. Oh, you're getting so many tips today. Okay. Love using the end of the Take Your Pick tool to take the dimensional backings off. And then I'm going to slide this circle right on here. And I want that bow kind of overlapping the sentiment. That looks fantastic. It needs some bling. Here we go. Once again, Take Your Pick tool to the rescue. I use the putty end to just slide the rhinestone off the sheet and then pop it onto the card. So there we go. We got some sparkling rhinestones there. All right, now don't go away because I'm going to show you a fabulous paper storage tip. But before I do, I want to remind you that anybody watching live or on the replay can get a chance to win this fun card that we made today just by sharing the video. So go ahead and share. You can do it anytime between now and next Monday. And if you let me know in the comments that you shared, because Facebook doesn't always tell me, Then next Monday, when we make another card on Make It Monday, I will be looking at those people who shared and drawing one of them to win this adorable card. Okay, so thank you so much for that. All right, now here is my paper storage tip. I think I'm going to have to zoom out a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so 6x6 paper. I like to store in a Ziploc bag, and I have it in a container with all my different packs of DSP, my 6x6 DSP, all lined up in a little basket. But here's the part that you're gonna find handy for today, is that I use a clear envelope, a clear sleeve for all my scraps, or you could use a smaller Ziploc bag for this too. So every scrap that I cut, you can see some of them are really, really small, and I'm still saving them. You know, when I end up with little pieces left over from cutting paper for cards, I just throw the scraps in here. And so this whole thing is scraps for just this type of paper. And then when I'm going to make a card like this that requires those scraps, I go straight in here and I pull out these pieces that are 6 inches long, and I cut them down to the size that I need for my card. And look at all these that I could use to make these cards. And then, yes, you're looking at these little ones and going, why, Laura? But sometimes a little strip like this is just what you want for the inside of your card. So you're going to end up with your 5 1/4 by 4 white piece to write your message. And maybe you just want to put a little baby piece of designer series paper on the inside to bring some of that design from the outside to the inside of the card, right? So yeah, I save a lot of scraps. And when I'm getting ready to, well, when the paper is about to retire is when I like to use up all these scraps by making cards like this. And I have a few other designs that use up scraps. And that is how I stay organized while I'm still using that beautiful paper. So those are your tips for today. Thank you for joining me for Make It Monday. I had so much fun crafting with you all today. Again, a shout out to those of you who are watching the replay. I want to remind you that you can purchase all the products you saw here today on my website, inkyfingers.ca. And right on that website, you will also find my events calendar, which tells you about all my in-person and virtual events, lots more project tutorials and videos, all the current catalogs, and the sign up for my email newsletter. Starting next week, friends, I am giving out 12 weeks of Christmas tutorials. So every week in the newsletter, there's going to be a Christmas card or a Christmas project tutorial. So make sure you join the newsletter and don't miss out on a single week. It's going to be so much fun spending all this time together crafting right up till Christmas. Have a great day, everyone, and happy stamping. Bye-bye.